Hi guys, Connor on Chain. We're back. We're gonna be talking about Bitcoin, a couple other things, and some ordinals. We got some ordinals news. But real quick, as you guys are looking at the markets, I know many people are panicking. Everyone's seeing Bitcoin down 4% today. We're under 40K right now. Right off the bat, guys, do not be panicking. You know, do not be panicking. Whatever you want to, however you feel, whatever the people you're talking to, do not panic, all right? First thing is first. When it comes to any sort of market, especially crypto, to see heavy pullbacks is honestly one of the most normal and natural things. Whatever reasoning is behind certain pullbacks, they happen. They happen for whatever reasons. You can see them, even though they look insanely manipulated sometimes, like right here. Like it doesn't even look natural half the time with these buys and sells, but at the end of the day, markets form and they play out these patterns. And like I've stated so many times in the last few videos, few weeks, upwards of probably a month now, I've been calling for downside. And just based off the RSI, which is, in my opinion, it's just it's a very strong indicator. I've been doing technical analysis for multiple years too. You don't really need insane technicals a lot of the times. At least for me, I focus on high time frame, you know, and it just looks like Bitcoin has been trying to go up, continue to go up multiple times. But what is the RSI showing? It's showing the opposite. It's showing that the strength has just been slowly coming down. And in my opinion, before we actually see, um, you know, the end of this correction, I'm gonna point something out here too that, I noticed earlier. So we even have in the last bull run here, we got this over here. I was looking at this right here, and this is kind of curious. Aside from like this bottom here, we look at, we had price go over here. Price came up. Like obviously, this is after everything's already dumped a huge amount. It's been sitting for a while. And then what does price do? So say for example, price is up here on the RSI. So RSI in between 70 and what is this, 40? Oh no, 30. So in between 70 and 30, for the most part is like, that's kind of when the market is just doing its normal thing. But once we see markets really overextended, as in way over or underneath 30 here, or way over 70, for example, this is a good like point to be watching, because a lot of times when a market's overextended or underextended, that's going to be on a high time frame. A lot of times it's going to be an indicator that, all right, the downside is probably not going to be as minimal from this point in comparison to, like, say we're up here and it dumps, or we're up here and it dumps. So what I mean is, like, from up here, we had the RSI sitting, kind of even but closer to the top. We had this huge dump here. Price came down a little bit, continued up, and then it continued one more time. So it had a literal double bottom on the RSI here, which kind of like indicated for the most part like I guess a longer term downside. And the same thing I actually am predicting is going to play out kind of like right there. So I want to take this right here. We're basically going to just copy and paste this dip, and I want to kind of draw it over here. Oh, come on, don't lag out, bro. It lags out. Nah, yo, come on. But yeah, bottom line, what I'm predicting is that on the RSI, aside from the drawing right now, is I think that before that we really see another huge leg up to the upside, I think on the daily, on the RSI here, I have a feeling that we're going to have to hit rock bottom, as in between, 15 to 30 on the low end on the RSI, to really conclude that hey, this dump is already very under or whatever overextended to the downside, you know. And right now it's starting to come down, but in the grand scheme of things, on the daily it's still right in the middle, you know. And this is where, I don't want to be like a bear for the short term, but this is where I'm thinking that, I think this dump for the most part is kind of just starting. If we just like do this, obviously that's, I'd say maybe price pulls something like this. Like maybe this dump continues. It's going to continue here, push down. I think on this first little leg that it has down, whether this, stops anywhere around 39, or let's say this next candle, the couple candles slash days, maybe drops another 2, 3, 4 like days down. It's going to come to a bottom. This might come back down into here. For a little while, this might have a little consolidation, kind of like right here. It's going to come down, consolidate for a little while. And in my opinion, I think we're going to have one more leg down after that. This is where it could come all the way to 32. Or, this could just be way smaller. This could be like around 34, 35. In my opinion, this is kind of the golden scenario that I believe. Because I think, aside from like this little consolidation, I think it's kind of going to just go almost straight down from here. Consolidate for a while. Let me get rid of this the other drawing. Come down, consolidate before one more final drop, and I think that's going to be the capitulation. Whether this does lead all the way into February, maybe into March. I could be wrong. This could be a short-term dip. This could come back up. This could try to crack all new highs again, form some sort of maybe longer-term head and shoulders before really crashing into like 30s, but that I think is less likely than, just continued downside for a very short term, as in a couple weeks, maybe upwards of maybe over a month and a half max, in my opinion, before we start really seeing the market, kind of just doing something like this. Like it's after a crash, consolidates, might go up for a while, come back down, just, kind of be range bound for a while. I think after this kind of hits over the next few weeks to a month, it's going to be range bound for probably another month into April. I think by the time April hits or the halving hits, I think it's still going to be in consolidation, maybe a little bit of price action to the upside again. But I do think something like this is in the books. Maybe it comes back up. We sit April's here, maybe it comes back, May, maybe we get the hype back. July start moving. I mean, definitely not this quick, only in July, but if we push this out a few months, maybe into like September, October, I think that's when the real parabolic moves are coming. But in my opinion, we probably are going to see something like this. It's going to be, again, heavy capitulation, a short-term capitulation for about a month, maybe a little more right here. There's going to be just straight downside for a while. Probably some bouncing back, over another few weeks. Another attempt back down, but it's not going to break. It's not like this is going to come up or come all the way down, come up, and come back down. I don't think it's going to 30K. I really don't. I think right around here, like I said, I think around 34 to 35 is going to be the bottom of, this dip. But again, it doesn't mean that, this isn't going to consolidate for a long time. Bottom line, I think the market's going to be very low from now until probably April or May or June. And I think the best entries are going to present themselves. There's so many projects already, bro, that are just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But the only reason why I'm not aping everything I have is because, right, Bitcoin is only here, and I believe that it's still going down. Again, just based on, my own technical experience, I really think that just based off literally the RSI alone here, that we got at least some sort of capitulation down into the 20s, maybe mid-20s of the RSI, down here. I think until we see a real test of down here, I don't think we're going to see a bottom yet. And again, like even with the RSI and the chart, This could come up again, could continue. Oh, well, it's not going to zero like that, but this could come down. It could try to go up again, come back down. But I think once it comes in here and tests it, I think that's where we're gonna see probably something like this. In my opinion, maybe something similar along the lines of that. It's gonna be over the next few weeks to a month. It's coming back into here. It could be even shorter. It could be a few days. But gonna come back into here. Probably gonna have a nice bounce from here. Another bounce right back down. I don't think it's gonna be bouncing as much. Bottom line, I think there's gonna be a double bottom after a heavy capitulation before we continue. That's what I wanted to tell you guys today. Looking at Bitcoin, because I know many people are freaking out. But you guys have to understand too, in these cycles, these insane dips are part of the game. You guys have no idea. I mean, well, I don't want to say that because many of you have an idea. Many of you have been through many cycles, have experienced dips like this from up here all the way down, all the way back. Like, that was absolutely nuts. Seeing, like, this is one of the most ridiculous dips in my opinion. Like, this literally just looks like too many cycles happened, But bottom line, it's, like this part of crypto, like no one expected this, like this dip here specifically to happen. And then also for price to really continue to push almost all the way back up. That was really wild because for a while here, I really thought this was the top, and I was still holding most of my bags, even down here. And I continued to add, because I was just, my conviction in crypto is always, even for my first few months ever learning about it, my conviction has just been strictly time-based, based on the time frames of the cycles, And I still believe it's going to be the same exact thing. It's going to play out very similar to last cycle. There's going to be so much news, good and bad, that's thrown at everyone every day. But in my opinion, it's like, I don't listen. I don't really care what the news says 95% of the time. It's good to have like really good knowledge on, different markets, real traditional markets across the world, what's happening. But, like most of the time, so much FUD that's just being thrown out on news, people saying, oh, Bitcoin's going up 10K and then when Bitcoin's up, you got people claiming, oh, Bitcoin's actually going to rip to 500K in the next 2 weeks. It's like, it's ridiculous. Just don't listen to anyone. Or listen to smarter people that you find, especially on YouTube. I know there's a lot of good technical analysts. A lot of people actually know what they're talking about. There are some that really don't. But from what I've seen, there are a lot of great people you can listen to. But yeah, like I'm saying, guys, just don't stress too much. I'd say if you're over invested and you're really having a tough time seeing your bags dump, take out a chunk of your investment in whatever coin it is, in which you can put off to the side to then buy back lower. Because that's exactly what I did, because I was very over invested on a couple of these, even a few weeks ago, that I had to trim my position because I was losing my mind, like, double checking myself. I'm like, did I just make a dumb move? Like, nah, it's gonna continue up. Like, even if it dumps, I'll hold it. If you gotta think about it and you can't just go to sleep at night peacefully, I recommend sizing out of your position a little bit, or just get comfortable with the dips like this. It's because again, it's part of the game. It's part of this market. It's how this moves. We made unbelievable gains from here. It's going to come back down. It's going to come here. But, this is just like I don't know what you want to call it. An interlude into, the next actual leg up and what's going to happen. We're going to see price continue to push up. But eventually, like, this is why I'm telling you guys, I'm following the RSI. It's just very simple. If you can start seeing that Bitcoin's losing some steam, it's having a tough time continuing to the upside, no matter what the news is saying, what goes up always has to come back down at some point. And I'm going to preach this, over the next 12 to 18 months. I do expect in middle of 2025 that, basically the market's probably going to be at its peak. at some point, whether it's, whether the market literally is only back at all-time highs, which is a very bearish in my opinion, but it could happen, or whether the market, has gone up and it's literally at like 100 something thousand, or if Bitcoin's upwards of 230 300K, I don't know. I like to have very conservative targets. Bitcoin can get to like 120, 130K. For me, that's like a maximum target. Even with all the, bullish news that we got still, I don't have like insane targets for it. I think very long term, it definitely will be sitting at a few hundred grand. Like nothing. I think this chart in the next 10, 20 years is going to look like absolute peanuts, but yeah, like I'm saying, everyone, this is part of the game, and just, be cautious of over investing into certain projects, especially micro caps / projects you don't really have conviction in. If you're trying to make quick money on these coins, like just, especially when the market's very uncertain, you should not be investing in them, like at all. When we're back here, when the market is constantly pushing up and pushing up, that is when you're going to be degenning and, getting into very risky plays, because the upside is going to be a lot more prominent than, worrying about the downside. But right now, when the entire market's coming down, it's going to be hard to, want to be jumping into new risky projects when, everything else is just crashing around it. So, that's why I preach this, just play it safe, play it smart, and like I said, just don't panic at the end of the day. It's part of the market, that's how it moves, and I still think even if you're way overexposed into certain coins, we still have a long bull run ahead of us. Like, if you guys are worried about, losing money or anything, I think this is the one dip where you really do not have to stress. The one long-term dip that you don't have to worry, because we still have pretty much the entire bull run ahead of us outside of this dip here. Like I'm saying, like the halving still is months away. It's not even like it's a week away, nor it's not like it already happened. Like, we still have months before the halving. So we got our some sort of bags packed, way before the halving even starts, which is really cool. It's another way to look at it too. And if you got money on the sidelines, you still have money to deploy, before the bull run even starts. And to put that into perspective, like when I first started and I got into crypto and learned about it, I literally got in, this is not to point out like, oh, I made great gains or nothing like that. Like, I got in at a very lucky time. I started learning right here. I got into all crypto right around here. This is where I allocated most of my bags, and I got lucky with when it actually ripped, But bottom line, I got in, I think a couple months, no, I don't remember the exact time. But what I do know is when I was really starting to heavily allocate into altcoins, it was months after the halving already happened. Just think about that. That was when I first started allocating any money into, any altcoins. It was months after the halving. We still have 3 to 6 months before, that point where, even if you just started learning about crypto, you just started adding to your bags, in 6 months from now, you'd still be at a point where this is still probably going to happen. We're still waiting for this phase to happen. And that is why I'm telling you guys this. Because again, getting in right here, months after the halving, to then, ride this whole wave up, that is still what we're waiting for. We still have months before that opportunity even presents itself. So just play the long-term game with crypto, guys. If you have extra money, degen on some micro caps or, shit coins all the time, make sure it's a small portion of your account, or you just have conviction in these meme coins, like certain projects, whatever it is. But again, just play it safe and just be patient, guys. It's, just add on dips and just sit on your hands and knees and wait. Yeah, because, this, in my opinion, this is how I play crypto. This is how I play the game. That's how I made a great sum of money in the last bull run. and this is how we're doing it again, So that's what I got for you guys today. I was gonna talk about some other ordinal stuff, but I'm just gonna make another video about it because this is already 20 minutes long. But that's what I got for you guys today. So appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.